What if I told you that a single plant is responsible for the rise of entire civilizations? That the food on your plate, the fuel in your car, and even the sweetener in your soda all trace back to one revolutionary crop? Corn. It's not just food. It's the hidden architect of human history. This isn't just ancient history. It's how we became who we are. And it all began with a single grain. 9,000 years ago, people lived as nomads, hunting whatever they could find, gathering whatever was within reach, and relocating when the land could no longer sustain them. Their primary objective was survival, not the development of civilization. Then everything changed. Ancient farmers in Mesoamerica performed what might be the greatest agricultural feat in human history, transforming a wild grass called teosinte into the powerhouse crop we know today. As this miraculous grain traveled north, it didn't just feed people, it changed them. Its arrival in North America aligned perfectly with a period of increased rainfall, enabling those precious kernels to thrive in the once parched soil. The early cobs were small, barely an inch long, yet they held a transformative promise, a reliable source of food that could be cultivated, harvested, and stored for future use. By 2000 BCE, the ingenuity of indigenous peoples transformed the desert landscape. Desert archaic communities developed sophisticated knowledge of seasonal rainfall patterns, soil conditions, and growing cycles. Their careful observations and adaptations allowed corn to thrive where nothing should grow. They weren't just planting seeds, but developing an intimate relationship with the land. They observed which wild plants thrived in which locations, which soils held the longest moisture, and how to protect their precious crops from wildlife and weather. For the first time, these people weren't forced to wander constantly. With each season, they transformed from hunters into farmers, from wanderers into builders of a new world. Native American innovation rippled through the entire region. With a reliable food source, populations flourished. By 1000 BCE, families were clustering into villages near their precious fields, constructing permanent pit houses and creating complex storage systems for their harvests. Indigenous farmers refined their techniques, adding beans and squash to their cornfields, creating the famous Three Sisters agricultural system, a sustainable growing method so effective it's still studied by agronomists today. The beans fixed nitrogen in the soil, the corn provided stalks for the beans to climb, and the squash leaves shaded the ground to retain moisture. They transformed the desert itself, carving irrigation canals into the earth, building terraces on hillsides, and creating check dams to capture precious rainwater. A barren wasteland became a breadbasket through Native American engineering and ecological knowledge. By 750 CE, these indigenous agricultural traditions had given rise to the remarkable ancestral Puebloans. Their knowledge of corn cultivation enabled them to build sprawling villages of stone and adobe, magnificent structures like those at Chaco Canyon and Mesa Verde. Corn had become central to their spiritual understanding, woven into ceremonies, art, and beliefs. Native peoples didn't just grow corn, they developed a profound relationship with it, seeing it as a living relative deserving of respect and reciprocity. In 1493, when Christopher Columbus brought corn back to Spain from his first voyage to the Caribbean, and corn was subsequently grown in Spain as early as 1494. Today, corn remains sacred to Pueblo cultures. For the Hopi, it is the mother of the people, a living symbol of life and continuity. Indigenous seed-keeping traditions have preserved ancient varieties of corn for centuries, maintaining genetic diversity that may prove crucial for our agricultural future. That same revolutionary seed now powers our modern world, food, fuel, and countless products. Corn has transformed human society from ancient indigenous civilizations to contemporary industries, from hunter-gatherer bands to global economies, and it all began with a single grain of corn. Subscribe to our channel to explore the wonders of desert life, from its wild landscapes and wildlife to the vibrant communities that call it home.